Hello, a warm welcome back. Sage here. You're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney, and this is the Stocks in Action show. We'll glimpse through the developments across the equity and commodity markets and look at the stocks under the spotlight today. Let us first start with the ASX 200 performance. Well, the Australian share market opened higher ahead of an important monetary policy meeting by the central bank that may see its cash rate stay at a record low. The central bank is likely to decide against rolling over its 3-year yield target to the November 2024 bond from the existing April 2024 maturity, and the trading ground further intensifies over the virus concerns as the country battles an outbreak of the highly contagious Delta variant of the coronavirus, along with strong oil and copper prices. On the other hand, helping miners and energy stocks gain in the early trades. The S&P ASX 200 is up 12.20 points or 0.17%, crossing above its 20-day moving average. Whitehaven Coal up 4.39% and EML Payments up 4.23%. More sectors are lower than higher today, despite the gain in the S&P ASX 200 index. Energy is the best performing sector, while telecommunications services is trading lowest. And the economic data points may be the key to directing the market charter today. A weekly gauge of consumer confidence from ANZ and Roy Morgan fell 3.9% following lockdowns. The measure fell to 107.8 points, lower than both the 4-week average of 110.9 and the monthly average of 112 that stretches back to 1990. And on that note, let us quickly glance through some global developments and its effect on the global market movements. Global stock markets stayed close to their record highs on Monday as market participants considered increasing European business activity and robust growth in the recent US jobs report against worries about the highly infectious Delta variant of the coronavirus. And trading across the globe was thinner than usual, with US markets closed for the extended 4th of July weekend. On Wall Street, the S&P 500 future signalled a flat opening for Tuesday after the index closed 0.8% higher at a record high on Friday. The Dow Jones rose 0.4%, while the Nasdaq Composite was up 0.81%, setting another record. Let's now glance at the currency space. On Monday, the US dollar fell against a basket of major currencies after hitting a resistance when last week's mixed bag of US jobs data calmed down investors' worries about a faster end to the monetary stimulus. And the Australian and New Zealand dollars were struggling to keep the ongoing rally alive as the investors are getting cautious ahead of the Reserve Bank of Australia's monetary policy meeting, which could see a change of course in its massive stimulus programs. Bitcoin is stuck in a range and has been trading directionless for the last few weeks. And on Monday, the largest cryptocurrency was down by 3.31%. Dogecoin was down by 4.27% and Ether was down as well, 3.85%. Let's move on now to the commodities space. On Monday, the gold prices traded higher as a subdued US dollar and falling bond yields amid a mixed data of US jobs reports diminished the investors' concerns about a faster policy tightening, helping the yellow metal rise towards the US $1,800 an ounce once again. Spot gold was up 0.2% an ounce after hitting its highest levels since 18th June 2021 on Friday. And on Monday, the global commodities market also witnessed benchmark iron ore futures contract in China surging more than 5%, supported by rising demands as mills resumed production after the country's party centenary. The most actively traded iron ore futures on the September delivery month on the Dalian Commodity Exchange increased as much as 5.6% a tonne, the highest level since 11th of June 2021. On Monday, copper prices inched up as well to their highest levels in more than 2 weeks, underpinned by the US dollar's halt in the uptrend and prompted the fund buying. However, expectations of higher supplies to come and slowing demand in top consumer China capped gains. And lastly, on the global developments, crude oil prices rose on Monday as OPEC Plus countries called off talks on production levels after the United Arab Emirates rejected the proposal for an 8-month extension to output curbs. September delivery crude oil futures traded flat, whereas August delivery WTI crude oil futures traded 1.57% up per barrel as of the 6th of July 2021. The Organisation of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, known as OPEC+, agreed to significant production cuts in 2020 to stabilise the oil market during last year's pandemic-led oil crash. The members of OPEC+ have been gradually easing the production, but the plan to increase the output by 2 million barrels per day from August to December 2021 was blocked by the United Arab Emirates. Positive European economic data additionally boosted the prices of crude oil. Eurozone businesses expanded activity at the fastest rate in the last 15 years during the last month. And now it's time for a short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more trending updates for the Australian market.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
sectoral coverage or industry news.
We cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
with Kalkine TV.
Welcome back. This is Sage, your host, live from the Kalkine studios in Sydney, and you are watching the Stocks in Action show. Let's have a look at a few recent updates from the ASX listed companies. We'll start with the first big news. Trading in the green, PayRite, the buy now, pay later service provider, shared a trading update for the quarter 4 of the financial year 2021, ending 30th of June 2021. PayRite achieved a record quarterly gross merchandise value of $26.1 million Australian dollars, up 134% on the previous corresponding period. In the month of June, it achieved a record monthly level of gross merchandise value at $9.2 million Australian dollars. The company added a record 6,000 new customers in the fourth quarter. This was much ahead of guidance. The total customers were 53,400 as of 30th June, up by 58% on the previous corresponding period. Total merchant stores were up 41% and were in line with its guidance. Looks like the growing number of customers, merchants and receivables books have placed PayRite for continual growth. Let's move on now to the next big news. Trading in the green, one of the 4 largest banks of Australia, Westpac Banking Corporation, announced on Tuesday that it has agreed with Fidelity Life Insurance Company Limited to sell Westpac Life NZ Limited and enter into an exclusive 15-year agreement for the distribution of life insurance products to Westpac's New Zealand customers. The sale price of 400 million New Zealand dollars, which is approximately 373 million Australian dollars, is likely to result in a post-tax gain on sale and add approximately 7 basis points to Westpac Group's Common Equity Tier 1 capital ratio. The transaction will also include ongoing payments from the distribution agreement to Westpac New Zealand Limited. Fidelity Life Assurance Company Limited is New Zealand's largest locally owned life insurer, backed by cornerstone investor, the New Zealand Super Fund. Bionomics is the next big newsmaker, the global clinical stage pharmaceutical company. Trading in the red, the company announced its Phase 2B trial of the Attune study that focuses on evaluating the tablet formulation of BNC 210 amongst patients with post-traumatic stress disorder. BNC 210 is a novel first-in-class treatment formulation for anxiety and stressor-related disorders. It has also received a fast-track designation by the US Food and Drug Administration to treat PTSD and other disorders. Phase 2B will be a clinical trial with a 12-week treatment program. And now it's time for a short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more trending updates for the Australian market. Property by Kalkine. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest lowdown on the property market, tune in on Kalkine TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision.
Keep watching Property with Kalkine.
Welcome back. This is Sage, your host, live from the Kalkine studios, and you're watching the Stocks in Action show. The next big news is in from Strategic Elements, an Australian-listed pooled development fund actively funding and developing projects in the technology and resource sector. Trading in the green, Strategic Elements has reported today that its subsidiary Stealth Technologies will be designing and delivering an autonomous drone-carrying vehicle that automates detection and sensing of chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear agents. The company will collaborate with the Defence Science Technology Group, part of the Australian Department of Defence, and the University of Western Australia to build the solution and conduct a live demonstration to the Army. The Western Australian Defence Science Centre has agreed to part fund the collaborative work. And the last big news for today is coming in from Carnarvon Petroleum, the oil and gas company. Trading in the green, Carnarvon Petroleum has announced a joint venture with Frontier Impact Group. And Frontier Impact Group has been an active player in the biorefinery business in Western Australia. Carnarvon Petroleum has formed this joint venture to produce renewable diesel and other sustainable products. Both the companies will own 50% equity in the joint venture. In addition, Carnarvon Petroleum will invest 2.6 million Australian dollars in seed capital to enable the first project to reach financial close, expected by early 2022. Thanks so much for joining us on that live report. That's all for now, but please stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more live market updates. We'll be back with more news on the markets, economies and diverse themes and sectors. Sage signing off.